class, I was asked to write about someone who I think is a hero, what a hero is, and what attributes a hero has. I picked Lionel Messi.
Of course. I probably could have guessed that.
I was asked to meet certain standards by doing this.
Okay.
One is to introduce claims and organize the reasons and evidence clearly. Another one was to support claims with clear reasons and relevant evidence, using credible sources and demonstrating an understanding of the topic or text. I did these standards very well. I know this because my grade was an M. An M means meeting standards. My teacher said, explains and examines a topic through organization. This means that my essay was very neat and organized. I had a lot of details. This is the actual essay.
Lionel Messi, we're going to see him tomorrow. Excellent.
I didn't need to improve on much in this essay, though. The only thing that I need to improve on is to remember where to put the commas and to check my work a little more. I know this because when I was doing the revision, I found a few errors. I noticed that I needed to put the commas in a few places, and I put the word to twice. Oh wait, that's not the revision.
So that happens when you rush, or is that you didn't really check?
I think it was just because I was rushing.
I like that. Cool. Okay.
Also, oh wait, no. If I don't do this in the future, my essays will not make sense and I will not get good grades. I took a lot from this assignment, which means what I learned about myself.
Okay.
I learned a lot about Messi, and I learned that he was even nicer than I thought he was. I learned that I need to write a little more and check over my work. If I do this in the future, I can always get good grades on not only my essays, but anything I write.
That is true.
In class, we had 2 assessments on vocabulary words, which is what you're looking at. We had to write out the definitions of words, find the word that attaches to the definitions, and write a sentence with the word in it. By doing this, we were supposed to meet certain standards. One of them was to acquire and accurately use grade-appropriate general academic and domain-specific words and phrases, gather vocabulary knowledge when considering a word or phrase important to comprehension or expression.
I'm listening.
This is what we did and what standards we were supposed to meet. I did many of these standards well. I know this because my grade on both of these tests were each 100. Everything was checked and there were no corrections. I put the correct definitions of words. I found the right word that attaches to definitions. I also wrote a sentence with one of the words in it. In other words, I did everything I was supposed to. I worked very hard to get these grades. In order to do this, I studied a lot. I also paid very close attention in class while we had the review. If I keep on doing this in the future, I will always get good grades on my tests. If I want to do this, I need to keep on doing what I did to get these good grades.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay, so remember over the summer when I was reading The Lightning Thief?
Yeah.
So in school we have a yellow book and there was a myth in it. And it was the hero's journey. It was a story. And it's like what a hero goes through, or what a person goes through in order to become a hero. So we had to write a paragraph on how Chapter 8 of The Lightning Thief is aligned with the hero's journey.
Okay.
By doing this, we were meeting several standards. We were supposed to write an organized paragraph that was informative and explanatory, You had to cite text-based evidence to support an analysis of literary text. I cited text-based evidence to support an analysis of informational text. You would analyze the evidence by giving an explanation. I did all of these standards very well. I know this because my grade was an M, meeting standards. All of the standards were checked and I had no corrections. Yeah, this is it. I cited text evidence from both the hero's journey and the lightning thief. I cited the road of trials and the hero's journey. The road of trials are challenges a hero faces while he or she is becoming a hero. There were a few things in this paragraph I need to improve on. One thing I need to improve on is that I should write more mature words. I know this because when I was reading my paragraph over, it didn't sound as mature as it could have been. I thought that I should write words that entertain the reader. I didn't take too much from this assignment. However, there was one thing. When it comes to an assessment, I don't explain as much as I could about how the two text details are alike.
All right, we're in a learning process. Okay, so you just got to be more detailed. That's all right.
Next time, I will not do this. I will explain how the two text details are alike because the reader will understand what is going on. It's all for ELA. I left something out.
What?
My science.
So go back. Okay.
No, but my actual thing was in my notebook and that was in my backpack.
You see? And you said we had all the time in the world.
Those are the standards.
So what's this one?
These are the standards.
Go ahead, I'll read it.
In Unit 1, I learned a lot. I learned what a ratio is, how to do a tape diagram, how to make a double number line diagram, and how to find an equivalent ratio. A ratio is a part of a part. You may know it as a fraction if you don't know what a ratio is.
I remember you asking me this.
Oh, yeah. You find an equivalent ratio by multiplying the two numbers by a same number.
Okay.
So if it's like, let's say it's 5 to 10 or 5 colon 10, you'd multiply 5 by 10 and 5 by 2 and 10 by 2.
Okay.
And that's how you find an equivalent ratio. And if you want to find a smaller ratio, you can divide both of the numbers by the same one.
So you explained it better than I did.
In order to make a tape diagram, you would use boxes. For example, if Mitchell has $40 from his job, how much money does his brother have from his job? The ratio is 2 to 5. You would draw 2 boxes representing him and 5 boxes representing his brother. Since Mitchell has $40, you would put 20 in each box because 20 plus 20 equals 40. If there are 5 boxes, you would multiply 5 by 20, or you would put 20 in each box. I also learned how to make a double number line diagram. A double number line diagram is used to find the amount of a different unit. I didn't have many weaknesses, but I had many strengths. For example, one weakness is that when I was trying to figure out what to put in the boxes, it got me a little stuck. Because if it was like a number that I couldn't do in my head, it would take me some time to try to figure it out.
Sure.
I couldn't figure out what to do. So in order to fix this, I studied a lot and eventually I became very good in finding it. Strengths I had was that when I was finding ratios and equivalent ratios, it was very easy for me to do. It was very easy to... But this is because I studied, paid attention in class, and always did my work. I did all of this because I know hard work pays off.
Absolutely. Did your brother help you as well? Did your brother help you as well?
With?
No, this is all you? What are those pictures there?
Oh, right. This is my test. Sorry.
You maximize it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Doesn't do anything.
I think this is a maximize. Exceeding standards. Let me see. Hang on. Ooh, look at that.
Now, in Unit 2, we get a packet, and it is like distributed into a couple different lessons. And in each packet, there are a different amount of lessons. In this one, I forgot how many.
Well, you can read it off from there. No? It's on that page?
It says the lesson, so. I learned about ratio tables to compare ratios using ratio tables, number line diagrams, ratio tables, and equations, and double number line diagrams to plots on the coordinate plane. A ratio table is where in it each pair of values in the table will be equivalent to the same ratio. In order to compare ratio using ratio tables, you would find the ratio of two different tables and then find out which ratio is greater. A double number line diagram is where there are two lines with that are labeled with units. Do you know what a unit is?
It depends, a unit of something.
It's like cups and pints.
Oh, what type of units? Okay.
Well, it doesn't have to be specifically that type. Like, it could be miles and time.
Okay.
It doesn't. And you can find equivalent ratios. This is a tool used for understanding the equivalence of two related numbers. The next unit is graphing a coordinate plane. Graphing a coordinate. Do you know what that is, though? It's like.
Break it down for me.
It's like a box. And in it, there's like crisscrosses, and so on the bottom, the x-axis will be like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
Yes.
You get it? Okay. I had many strengths in this test. Gladly, I only had one weakness. That weakness was silly mistakes. Since I had a few silly mistakes, that lowered my grade a little. I mean, I still got a good grade, but it wasn't by too much, though, because I still got a good grade on this test.
Okay.
In order to get a good grade on the test, I always paid attention in class, studied a lot, and paid very much attention to the review. If I keep doing this in the future, I will always get good grades on my tests. I learned that if you really commit to something, you can accomplish anything. This is what I learned in Unit. Well, that should be Unit 2. Alright, when I get to it, I'll tell you. You'll be happy.
Pulse is that?
So in
39.
school, in art history, we were learning about Paul Cézanne, and we had a paper that talked about him. Wait, this is it. And we had to answer questions about him, and that's like the story about him. Paul Cézanne was born in 1839. Oh yeah, and there were certain definite words that we had to find in the story and then define them.
Okay.
So that's why you see words highlighted.
Right.
Paul Cézanne was born in 1839 in Aix-en-Provence. Sadly, he died. He was only 71 when the tragedy happened. He attended drawing classes as an adolescent, which is like my age, around my age. And his early experience with art made him really want to move to Paris and become a painter. His father was not happy about this at all. Eventually, he did make his dream come true. Even though he was a successful painter, he thought that he wasn't good enough to have this. Since he was successful, I guess he had a lot of money, so he didn't think he was good enough to have all of it. Paul Cézanne has done many beautiful paintings. One of the many paintings that Paul painted is called The Blue Vase. I don't know if you can see it that well, but this is a picture.
Does Grandma have that painting?
Oh, yeah. I think she has something like that.
Pay attention the next time. I think she's got that painting.
This painting is a blue vase with flowers in a house, and there is a wine bottle, oranges, and vinegar and oil bottles around it. In the background, there is a kitchen with a window. In the window, there is sunlight and a garden. This was painted between 1883 and 1887. It was painted with oil on a canvas. He used bright colors in this painting because he wanted to make his painting very bright and very beautiful. He painted this in his studio using props. This is a beautiful painting that Paul Cézanne painted. While we were learning about this project, there were many different choices, but the one I picked was to invent my own flower.
Your own flower?
Yeah. Look.
That's your own flower?
I invented it by myself.
Let's take a look at your flower.
I made up a name. I called it a Naudo flower.
What did you call it?
What?
What's the name?
A Naudo.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Does that have a Barca thing?
Yeah.
Of course. The rest of the paintings are pretty cool too. Nice. Excellent.
Good. Yeah.
What else you got?
This flower had many different features. Instead of the petals being like oval shaped, they were triangles. All around the flower there were leaves. These leaves were triangles as well. At the bottom of the flower it had feet with a soccer ball next to it. In the middle it had an FC Barcelona symbol with their colors next to it as a flag. And the flag had gray spikes coming out of it. I had a lot of fun doing this because instead of trying to draw a flower that exists in something like what Paul Cézanne painted, I drew something with my own imagination. I made something that could be however I wanted it, and no one could say anything. Okay, so we had a test on, remember that social studies test I brought back? I got 100 on that one. I don't know when I'm getting the next one back, but I guess it's coming in like a week.
That was the Greek one, right?
I said social studies test.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We had to answer questions on the
The
5D.
social stuff. But you got another 100 something else.
Yeah, I actually have a test for that. The post? Oh, this is my oral report.
Nice. 100. Huh?
Too many hundreds.
That's the way to do it, baby.
Okay, on the 5 themes of geography, and to list out physical features in pictures. And what I mean by physical features is like oceans, rivers, hills, stuff like that. In order to complete the test, I studied my foldable night and day, which would help me remember the 5 themes of geography. In order to list out all the physical features, I looked very closely to the picture. Also, in order to get a good grade on the test, I paid much attention to the teacher and the review. Even though I got a good grade on the test, which is 13 out of 12, I know it sounds weird since it's 13 out of 12, but there was a bonus.
I figured that. Okay.
And there were a few difficult things that happened while doing this assessment. For example, while I was taking the assessment, I couldn't remember what one of the 5 themes of geography meant. So in order to fix the problem, I took a few seconds to think about it. Then I was able to remember. Because while I was doing the bonus, I tried thinking, because I did everything and it was just that one question that I couldn't remember. So I went to the bonus and tried doing something and tried writing it out. But then I started to think about the other question. And when I started to think about the other question, I realized what it was. So then as soon as I remembered, I went straight to that question and started writing it. And I got to finish the bonus too, so.
I love to hear these stories. It's excellent. All right.
For example, when I was taking, there was a few difficult things that happened while I was doing this assessment though. For example, so in order also, I couldn't list out all the physical features. I learned that I need to pay a little more attention to the question. With this, I intend to get good grades in future tests. And for one of them, I accidentally, I typed up my other reflection for social studies on my other account. So I sent it to myself, and I have this somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, in school, I was assigned a group and a country. My country was England. I learned a lot about England. There are many royal and famous people in England, such as Queen Elizabeth II, Prince Charles, Prince William, and David Beckham and his family.
David Beckham. Okay.
They don't practice that many religions in England. They only celebrate about 3. In England, they celebrate a lot of traditions. Some of them are American traditions too. Some of them, I only had one challenge while doing the test. When I was first looking for the information, I couldn't find that much and I got frustrated. Since the main thing I needed was information, I couldn't find any, I got scared. So I took a deep breath, relaxed, and I was able to find a lot of information.
That's the way it usually works. Patience is a virtue. Remember that.
I enjoyed many things while doing this project. Something I found interesting was that England also celebrates American traditions. I also thought that England practices more than 3 religions before I researched it. But most of all, learning about England was so enjoyable. Everything I learned was so interesting. There are only 2 things I would want to change about the project though. If I were to change something about the project, I would let everyone pick their partners and countries. I would let everyone pick their partners because everyone will know each other and know what to say. I would let everyone pick their countries because then everyone would really want to research it and will have a lot of details and it would be very neat and organized.
Right.
So if they would want to research it, they would have wanted to do it before they even told them about it. So that means they would have a lot of details, it would be organized.
I concur. But then again, there's just various ways of doing things. That's fine. Excellent, buddy. Excellent.
Thank you.
Proud of your work. It's going nice.
That's it.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks for your presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Keep up the good work.
Okay.
And we're going to let Mommy know and show. Say bye to the camera.